Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Janine McGowan, and this is my channel where I talk about cross-stitch and dogs and the garden and anything else. So I'm glad you're joining me for that. It's a beautiful day here in northern Nevada. We've had just lovely weather, and the garden is waking up. Everything's sunny and bright, and we're very happy about that. Jumping right into stitching in action, first off Sandra, and I don't know if it's pronounced Sandra or Sandra, so I'm going to go ahead and put all my eggs into one pronunciation basket and just go with Sandra. But Sandra stitched Spring Quail. She used 28 count blue marble Lugana. She finished it with fabric trims on canvas board and also used some antique buttons from her grandmother, which I love. This was actually stitched for a fundraiser, I believe fundraiser auction, to raise money for kids going to summer camp. So that makes it even more special. Sandra also designs cross-stitch herself under the name Joyful Expressions. So I'll make sure I put her info in the notes as well so you can look that up if you want to see what she does. Thank you so much, Sandra, for sharing that with us. Next up, we have Amanda, and Amanda stitched Sleeping Bee. She started stitching it as a gift for a friend who was opening a new cross-stitch shop called Be Beautiful Sip and Stitchery. I'm going to get that all right. I'll put that in the notes as well. But she started it on the called for fabric, and then her husband saw another stitcher stitching it on blue, and very graciously, I think, Amanda started it all over again on some blue fabric from her stash, which is pretty amazing. I'm not sure I would do that for my husband. So yeah, props to both of you. But I particularly love the finish. She used a frame, wooden beads, and spray paint, all from Hobby Lobby. She says she was probably born with a hot glue gun in her hand, so I respect that. She used lady dot trim and some honeycomb fabric from her stash, and I think it just came out so beautifully. So thank you, Amanda, for sharing that with us. Now, what I'm stitching, again, no personal stitching to show. I had COVID, and I'll talk about that later, so I didn't do much of anything, but I did get one model finished that you haven't seen. It's for a Black Needle Society subscription box that's coming out, I want to say July or August, maybe a little bit later. But so that will be out soon to see, and that's the only stitching of any kind I've done. So on to Stash Spotlight. You know, Rye. You all know and love Rye. Since Rye has come into our house, I have adjusted a little bit the way that I store my cross-stitch supplies, because I used to leave them all by my place and my stitching chair and everything was out, and Rye has made that less practical. Also, we've kind of refined and reorganized our house, and so I'm able to stitch comfortably in a number of different spots, and so it's handy for me to have everything in one place. And the solution that I'm using right now is this. This is a little tote from Kohana, but I love it because it has everything in it. It's a little bit hard to see, but I've got a little Orts container, I've got my giant tub of lotion, I've got this magnetic thing that holds my needle, but it also has all these side pockets. So not only do I have room for my little stitching spectacles, I've got scissors and the things I use all the time, but also the things I don't use very often but still want to have there. The pencil for making notes on patterns, the nail file, the extra little needles and things, and counting pins, the little magnetic clips. These are all right there. And so this is one of the most useful stitching tools I've had for quite a while, and it's really easy for me to just grab it, take it to where I'm going to sit down and stitch, and then when I'm done, it just goes back in the cupboard and it's all safe from Rye, which drives a lot of my decisions. She is such a dear dog, but she does sometimes get a little extra curious about things that maybe I wish she wasn't quite as wanting to be interactive with. So that's the Stash Spotlight. On to World Around. It is, as I said, beautiful weather here. The garden is waking up, the roses are coming back to life, and the aphids have returned. And I have just noticed them sort of coming out en masse to be on the roses, and it's time for me to go get some ladybugs. But I thought it would be a good opportunity to learn about them because I know nothing about aphids, or I didn't until I was getting ready for this video. So now I'm going to share that with you. Basically, they're tiny little bugs and they latch onto plants to suck, I want to say it's called phloem or sap. They suck that out of plants. Now, that sap, that plant juice, is almost all sugar, and so aphids, in order to get the nitrogen and enzymes that they need, or amino acids I think it is, they need to drink quite a bit of that, which means that they are filling their bodies with this sugary liquid. They excrete sugary liquid, and so they are essentially slow, plump little bits of sugar candy for a lot of animals that want to eat them. I hadn't realized how popular they were as food, but it makes sense when you think they're just tiny little sugar bombs. But not just ladybugs, which I've always bought to help control the aphids, but also lacewings, some wasps, let's see, fly larvae. Often I will know that aphids are building up because I can hear the flies in a shrub like deep in where I can't see as well. And so I'll know to look for aphids on that. But I guess it makes sense. They've become really, really delicious, slow-moving snacks. So yeah, I did learn that they do have some defense mechanisms because they are so delicious and attractive. They have a tube on their back that they can use to eject a waxy substance. They're also apparently quite amazing fighters. They can kickbox with those back feet very, very strongly, like kangaroos or something, really, really going into it with the back feet. They sometimes will hunt the eggs of their predator insects and destroy those eggs before the predators can hatch. Some types of aphids will have a separate group of soldier aphids who grow stronger but never fully mature, and all they do is fight off attacks. They've also attracted a little symbiotic relationship with ants because ants love that they excrete this sugar. So ants don't hunt the aphids, but they love what they excrete, this honeydew sugary liquid. And so ants sometimes will be roped in to fight off predators that would eat the aphids because the ants want to keep the aphids as happy little farm animals going on, sucking up sap and producing this honeydew. Let's say they don't have wings generally until they do. So if they've taken all they can from a plant or it's not great conditions and they need to move to a new area, the next generation of aphids will have wings and be able to not really fly, but kind of glide and ride the air currents, which sounds like it wouldn't be a fast enough solution if you need to eat. But because aphids are so delicious and so hunted, they reproduce very, very, very quickly. In fact, they have, I think it's called parthenogenetic reproduction, so that females can reproduce without the involvement of a male. And it was described as, I think, telescoping generations or Russian nesting dolls. So an adult female aphid may have in her body developing young, which are also carrying within themselves developing young, which is just crazy to think about. It's like some of the old medieval ideas that a woman had all of her eggs, which contained all of the mini people, which including them contained all of their mini people for future generations. It just gets wild. But because of this, and because they birth live young, not they don't lay eggs, they can produce a new generation very, very quickly. So literally, I mean, you start thinking conditions are bad, we might want to move, and the next thing you know, babies are coming out with wings. So lots of really interesting stuff to learn about aphids. I was quite surprised. That isn't going to stop me from getting some ladybugs at the nursery and letting them go to town on those delicious sugary insects, but I do appreciate them a little bit more, while I would prefer that they not eat my roses. So that's the world around this week. Questions. Last video, I asked if you wanted to go roller skating. A lot of you felt like I do that there would be a lot of falling involved, and I can almost guarantee that I would fall a lot. That said, I'm a lot better padded than I was in my youth, so maybe it wouldn't hurt as badly. I don't know. We'll see if I actually end up giving that a try. This video, keeping it simple, what are you up to this weekend? I have a stack of charts you can see that need packing, so I've got to do that. And I've got some garden work to do and some time maybe working on some new designs that I'm really excited about. So yeah, it's a little bit of a catch-up weekend. We've got new releases out, so I'm actually getting time to get back to designing and catching up on that and doing things that are not packing new releases, so that's nice as well. All right, best thing this video, I am recovered from COVID, which this was my first official case of COVID. Like, I got sick and tested positive. I haven't had that before, and I got really sick. My husband brought it home from a work trip, and boy, did that lay me out. I was so exhausted for over a week and, you know, having trouble concentrating and just completely worn out. So I did a terrible job answering comments on the last video, and I apologize for that. I read them all, I enjoyed them, but I didn't actually answer very many of them because I got sick fairly quickly and just was staggering through work and then just going to bed. So that's another reason I didn't get much personal stitching done, and I was just recovering. But it is absolutely lovely to feel better again. Is there anything better than when you feel good and you realize how wonderful it is, but you don't tend to appreciate that until you've been sick? So I am as human as the rest of us when it comes to that. All right, giveaway. Last video, we have 2 new summer releases in the garden and Summer Valentine, and I might put up pictures of those just so you can remind yourself. Those have shipped off to stores, so if you're looking for a copy, you can get that from your local or online shop. But because new releases mean new winners, I've got 2 winners who can pick any one of my charts, and the winners are, get this right, Lynn Burton 6225 and Angel Van Note 1900. So Lynn and Angel, drop me an email or a message. Give me your mailing address if you'd like a physical copy, or just your email if you'd like a PDF copy, and I look forward to hearing from you. All right, giveaway this time. Have some beautiful threads. These are some that I got at market. These are from Gloriana. And I realized as I was making the notes, lovely silk, that they're all plant names. So this is Daffodil, Blue Lilac, and Virginia Pine. So if you would like to win the set of 3 beautiful silk threads, go ahead and use the word nature. I thought that was appropriate in your comment somewhere, and we'll pick a winner in the next video. That's actually it for me. As I said, I'm catching up now. New releases are out, and I'm looking forward to a weekend of some relaxing yard work and other things. But I hope you're going to have a lovely weekend as well. We have a little bit of a long puppy video this video, so go ahead and stay tuned for that, and I will look forward to seeing you again in 2 weeks.